It's a podcast. I like your show.
How did I get here? Welcome to the Shipe Sports Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Shipe Sports Talk Show. I'm your host, Matthew Shipe, joined always by my co-host and producer, Paul.
Sorry. Hey, guys. How's it going? That was the volume being down. Sorry.
And joined by Anthony. How are you doing, Anthony?
I am doing fantastic. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
I hate myself.
He's a little extra schmoopy whoopy right now.
So,
Hey, your voice is back. That's a plus.
I guess we just shouldn't beat around the bush. Just go right into it. Screw DC sports. There's no heart. Sucks.
All of them, though? You're going to say that? Even the Nationals?
Okay, let's
Yeah,
not.
and the
okay.
Wizards still alive.
Okay, screw the Capitals. Capital
There you go.
losers. Is that what we call them? Capital losers?
Yep, that's a bad accent.
You had Game 7 at home on your own ice. You had the momentum. You just scored 11 goals and 11 or 10 goals, whatever, in 2 games. And what do? You take our fan base and you just crush it. You just crush it. Ovi. Oh, he's hurt. Screw that. Where the hell were you this entire damn playoffs? Holpe can't save anything anymore. Just Justin Williams. It's your Game 7. More like game shit is more like it.
Oh, man.
I mean, where were they? This is horrible. You know what they need to do? Blow up the team. Just blow up the darn team and start fresh. Start with Kuzi, like you said. Anthony, go ahead. I'm done.
Listen, man, anytime you get a Game 7 on ice, at home ice, I should say, you think you got to feel good, especially that they won those 2 games, and quite handedly, I thought, Game 5 and Game 6. They didn't look like they struggled too much. Yeah, one was in Pittsburgh, and they smoked them. They smoke-showed them, Game 7, they just didn't look like themselves, and I knew the key was going to be to score first. And in defense of the Capitals, they just weren't having anything fall, and their continuous thing of, like I said, if there was no such thing as bad luck, they would have none, continued again. They had shots that were going in. I mean, did you see the save? Ovechkin, when he took that slap shot, did you see the save Fleury made? It literally hit like the handle of his stick accidentally. Like it was earmarked for the back of the net. Oshie's missing shots from the back. Oshie had that right in the front on the rebound, and he just completely miffed the shot. Like it just went completely wide. It just was not their day. Anytime you play a team where we're talking about the Penguins as a team that, not that they lost 9 of 10 games, they've lost 9 of 10 series to the Penguins. You're talking about over, close to 60 games possibly if they went to Game 7, in all of them, which they didn't. So we're talking anywhere between 50 and 60 games that they lost majority, of those games in series to the Penguins. And it didn't change, unfortunately, last night, and we were hoping that it did. I know especially me as a sports fan, I like to see a different team, and the Capitals are always the best team. Every year they win the President's Trophy. They do what they have to do, but they don't get the job done when it's most important. And I agree with the seeding. This game probably should have took place in the Eastern Conference Finals. You got it around early. For my belief, I think the Penguins are pretty much earmarked to go to another Stanley Cup. I think the Capitals are really the only team that we're going to get in their way. Now, before we get into more of the playoffs, let's talk about the Capitals going into next year. Barry Trotz in the press conference told a lot to me. He told a lot to me because he basically said, basically asked him, like, do you blame Ovechkin? And he said, I don't want to say anything right now. My emotions are a little high, and we lose as a team. That's all I'll say. Basically, he wanted to blame Ovechkin for losing that series, but he didn't want to do it. And I think now is the time that you move on. Ovechkin's in his 30s. He hasn't done what he came there to do. And I don't want to hear that, he's had solid teams behind him year after year. They've won President's Trophies. They've been the best in the Eastern Conference, year in and year out. And they're just not getting the job done. They're not getting the job done. You can attest to that more than me because, you live there in D.C., so you got to watch these guys on a regular basis. In the regular season, one of the best teams you'll see. When it comes to the playoffs, these guys can't find a way out. They just can't find a way out into the next round. And it's time to shake it up. You know, they could keep Kuznets. Obviously, Kuznetsov's one of the young guys. They'll keep him as the focal point. They're going to lose Shattenkirk. He was a rental player. Oshie's a free agent. So my thing is trade Ovechkin, get some young players back, get some picks back, and then use that money that you get and re-sign TJ Oshie. Keep some of these guys that just got there, that were starting to show some life, because obviously Ovechkin is not going to get the job done. And this is not to say Ovechkin is a bad player. It just might not be the place for him. He'll benefit more from moving on from the Capitals than the Capitals will from letting Ovechkin go, because it'll give him a fresh start and maybe it'll do what he finally needs and help him win somewhere else, because it's just not happening there in D.C. And it's sad to say, because like I said, it's such a talented team. And how they don't have multiple Stanley Cups by now baffles me. At minimum, Eastern Conference championships.
Baffles you. It baffles me. We should have had 3 parades by now, probably. But no,
there's no chance. You should not have one. You shouldn't have not had one by now.
Nope. But they go to other teams. DC we just can't get. Like I said this on my Facebook. It's the Dan Snyder curse. No one in DC has won anything since Dan Snyder took over the Redskins. That's what I'm gonna go with. Curse of Bambito, curse of the Billy Goat, curse of Dan Snyder. You know, time for DC to have one. Because you know what? For God's sakes, even Cleveland now has a championship thanks to LeBron.
Yeah.
We don't have one. I don't count DC United, MLS Cup. No, I don't count the Washington Castle. One of my friends were trying to argue, what about the Washington Castle? No one cares about a tennis team. What the hell? When's that ever on TV?
I'm not trying to be funny. I didn't know about that at all. Till you
I didn't either. He's like, they're always undefeated. No, who gives a shit?
Listen, man, win trophies. Win some trophies.
Win me major trophies.
Yep, win some major titles.
Division. All those President Cup things they have on the Verizon Center, take them down. Take down all the division titles, too. We don't need them up there either.
Let me ask you a question. You're in agreement that you get rid of Ovechkin. Do you want picks back in this draft? Say a team, let's talk for a sec. Let's say one of these teams in the top 5 picks want Ovechkin. Is that enough if you get that top 5 pick plus a second rounder? Or do you need more from them for that?
That's
or is
enough to me.
Then
you can pick a young guy.
Enough? And you grab one of these young kids?
Yep. Now, here, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What if the Devils offer their pick for Ovechkin? What would you do if that happened?
No, I don't want him. Nothing against him. The Devils need a young player to
but I'm
really
just saying,
cornerstone. I think it's a plausibility that they end up trying to get him, but it won't be for the number 1 pick. Ray Shero has really done a fantastic job with rebuilding that franchise, and they have, I think, 11 draft picks in this year's draft. So they've been rebuilding through the draft.
I would get Bojo on to see what he thinks about where the Flyers try to get him.
Well, maybe post Stanley Cup, try and talk to him, get him on. We'll talk expansion draft and all that kind of things. Obviously, you see trades. That's the one thing about NHL that's so cool, is you can trade players during the playoffs to other teams. They just can't be playoff eligible if they weren't traded before the playoffs started. Like, for instance, the other day, Bishop, the one that got traded from the Lightning to the Kings, now got traded from the Kings to the Stars. And he's going to be a free agent as of July 1st, but they have the rights to re-sign him now before July 1st. And then they can, lock him up on the team and then protect him from the expansion draft, as opposed to waiting for him to go into free agency and then trying to sign him. So, it's a cool concept, the way that the things go down like that. And I'm just excited to see how this whole thing pans out with the expansion draft and the actual draft. But there's no doubt about it that enough's enough. Do you think Trotz needs to go to the coach, or you think he's okay?
Fine.
Okay,
he's fine.
So, but Ovechkin's got to go.
You know what? Trotz can only do so much. The way they were all playing last night, they all looked like shit.
Yeah, you get shut out at home in Game 7, man. I mean, it's just not a good look. It's not a good look. So it's time for. I think Ovechkin's time is up. He's done a great deal for that franchise in the regular season. He just has nothing to show for it in the postseason, and that's
I'm
where. I'm
holding back so much right now.
Yeah, don't.
Like,
if you want to say something, just don't. Keep it very PG friendly.
Let it out, Matt. Let it all out.
It's Game 7 and you're at home, and you can't win. How many Game 7s have they had at home and can't win? You go back to when they lost to an 8 seed, when they were number 1 seed. They lose to Pittsburgh 2 years in a row. You know how much shit I had to deal with today from Pittsburgh fans because they're in this damn area? So many people at the school today wore Pittsburgh gear.
It is pretty annoying, actually.
But you know what? If you're a Caps fan and you can't deal with this, go be a Pittsburgh fan. If you want, go be a Philadelphia fan. Go be a Rangers fan. People here deserve better. They deserve better. If you want to go be a Pittsburgh fan after this, do it. By all means. Also, go be a Steelers fan while you're at it because the Redskins suck just as bad. Go somewhere that will appreciate their fan base. Just go. You deserve better. You deserve better than this.
Yeah.
Like me, for instance. Go Predators. I hope the Nashville Predators win the whole damn thing. You want to know why? Because I'm a Tennessee Titan fan. They're in Nashville. So you know what? Go Nashville. And by the way, I know I said go do that.
Bandwagon fan.
If I hear one person say, I hope Pittsburgh win because they beat the Capitals, go screw yourself. That's not
No one wants Pittsburgh to win. I don't think anyone's beating them, but
if you want to go be a fan for them for after this year, go ahead. You deserve better. But if you want to, just for the next 2 rounds, say, oh, they beat my team, I'll root for them, go screw, because you'll never see me root for the Texans, the Jaguars, or any of them in the playoffs. I hope they get one and done.
There's to an extent, man. Let's not get out of hand here. The Penguins are an exception to that rule. I wouldn't root for the Penguins if they were the only team in the NHL to root for. I just wouldn't want, you know what I mean? Obviously wouldn't exist.
Let's go. Okay, let's go.
Don't
Devils,
say it.
man.
Okay, you're gonna say the Devils.
What about the Giants? What if they get eliminated by someone in the NFL? Would you root for the NFC? Another
Depends
NFC
on the team, man. It depends
what
on
if
the
it's
team.
the Cowboys?
No, absolutely not.
What if it's the Eagles?
Nope.
Redskins?
Absolutely not.
So you would not root for anyone?
Not
in
any
the
of those
NFC
teams.
East?
No, not any of those teams. No,
All right.
absolutely not.
What about
If
the
it's
Jets?
a team that hasn't won in a while, though,
What about
I
the
don't care if
Jets?
the Jets win.
Do you ever root for the Yankees across town?
Listen, man. Right now, I don't mind if the Yankees win. We'll get into that in the What is Baseball segment because that's something we're going to want to talk about.
Speaking of which, the Nationals-Orioles game has been postponed.
Okay.
The good thing about this is that since they're so
have they
close,
announced the date yet or not yet?
No, but the good thing is they're so close that it's so easy for them to make up something.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right, can we move on from actually real quick? Who do you think is going to make it the Stanley Cup?
All right, from the East side, I'm gonna say the Penguins. As much as I don't like saying
I'm going to go ahead and agree with you.
The Senators. Don't sleep on the Senators, though. This is a team that I don't think many people had even going this far. The Rangers, I really think, gave that series away to them, which was a shame. I was hoping to see the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Finals. But I'm going to go that the Penguins win it all on the East side. And now on the West side, I'm going to go with Nashville, man. I like seeing different teams. That's why I was saying with the I don't know if I necessarily agree with that standpoint. Because like if I was an AFC South fan and the Jaguars beat the Titans, I wouldn't mind seeing the Jaguars win because that's a team you're not going to see very often in the Super Bowl or in the finals. So I'm going to go with Nashville versus the Penguins. And unfortunately, I don't like saying this, but the Penguins will be defending champions.
You know what's going to happen? Nashville's going to win the whole thing.
I would love to see that.
I think they will.
To see that.
Cinderella story wins the whole thing. They beat one of the best teams in the NHL, the Blackhawks.
Play Nashville in the last round.
I
could not believe what happened with the Blackhawks, man, in that
I'm
first
go
round.
The whole thing.
Nashville versus Pittsburgh?
Yeah, real quick, before we go on, how about the Senators fans where they only win the streets when it was red light? How courteous are Canadians? That was awesome.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I didn't see the whole thing.
They were celebrating in the streets, and they only went out in the middle of the road when it was a red light. When it was a green light, they got out of the road, but then when it went red, they went back in the road.
Wow.
So there's a bunch of courteous people up there. Canadians are awesome. They're so nice.
Yeah.
Nice, friendly people to the north.
There you go.
All right, let's move on to basketball playoffs. Wizards down 3-2. Feel a little bit better about them at home because they seem to dominate when they're at home. But
Every team.
But
Every
the
time the home team. Yeah.
They suck. The Warriors are sweeping everyone. The Cavaliers are sweeping everyone. The only good series right now is this one and I was about to say Saints for some reason. What the hell is wrong with me? San Antonio and Houston. That series could go either way. But I think right now, I see San Antonio against the Warriors, and I have the Cavaliers against...
Yeah, you can say the Wizards.
I think Boston.
Yeah. Listen, man, real quick, I see...
I think the Wizards win, but I think they're not going to win in Boston. Hold on. Before we keep going,
yeah,
Chris's
question? Yeah.
Did you all talk about what Barry Melrose said about Ovi and Crosby were on the opposite teams? The Caps would have couple Stanley Cups. What the hell is that? Oh, if we had Crosby and they had Ovi.
Yeah, I think it's without a question. It's a surefire champion because Crosby wins in the clutch. If you look, the guy touched the puck once and his one pass led to a goal to get the Penguins up 1-0 in this game. That's the difference between him and
He's the best in the NHL.
yeah, I hate to say it, man, but it's the truth. So,
Guillermo just reminded me tonight, San Antonio will be without Leonard. So that game in Houston possibly could. Both these series should possibly go to a Game 7, which once again benefits the Warriors and Cleveland because they haven't played in over a week, or they could be rusty.
I mean, I just think we're delaying the inevitable again of the Warriors and the Cavaliers, no matter what happens.
How many years in a row at this?
I think it's 3, right? This is the 3rd year in a row.
This is why I've always gone on record and saying that baseball is one of my favorite sports in terms of championships because every year it feels like there's someone new. And basketball, like, this is the 3rd year in a row. What? I know people are like, ooh, get to see the best teams. I don't care for this. If it's the Warriors and Cleveland, I do not care to see that again. Cool, it's the grudge match. Who's gonna win? It's their grudge match, 1-1. But I don't care. I'll watch a clinching game, but I won't watch the whole thing. I'll watch at the end. But if it's Warriors and Cleveland, I'm checking out. I'm done with the NBA playoffs. I mean, do you agree? Are you bored of seeing that?
Listen, man.
Bored?
Here's my thing on it. As a fan, I don't like seeing the same teams in there, but I can't get mad because they're doing everything within the rules to have the teams that they have out there. And when you have the best player in the game on your team, in the Cavaliers, and then probably the best overall team when you look at the starting 5 on the Warriors, you can't really be surprised. And then you talk about teams like the Spurs and teams like the Rockets. They're facing injuries. The Spurs, not only are they not going to have Leonard tonight, but Tony Parker's already out for the rest of the postseason.
Here's a question from Guillermo, one used to be a co-host on the show, guest to OT3. He says, "Do you think the Cavs and Warriors are killing NBA playoffs?" I think they are. I think they are because whatever series they're in, there's no point watching because you know what's going to happen. These two teams are killing the playoffs. The Warriors basically won the West as soon as Kevin Durant signed because Kevin Durant is a little, you know what, they say it on PG-13 shows, little bitch, and had to go somewhere on a super team to try to win a championship because he couldn't do it on his own. I don't blame him. He wants the title. I get it. But he couldn't do it on his own. So he had to go somewhere else. So you know what? They are killing NBA. They're killing the NBA playoffs because it's no fun. Because you already know who's going to win.
I won't say that because it gives you something to aim for. It gives you something to aim for that that this team's the best. This is what you have to do to get better. Now, you have to think about it, man. There's a lot of teams that went into the postseason hurt that could have made a completely different thing, and that's why you got to like that they're 7-game series. With football, it's one game. It's still you see a lot of different teams, but if you're injured, that one game, that's it. You know what I mean? Or if that team just is better than you in that game, that's it. There's no like, hey, we can change our game plan and come back the next game. But you think about a lot of teams that went into the postseason hurt. And, it really shows, what the issue is. But then there's some teams that are just on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders right now, like the Cavaliers, like the Warriors are. And the Rockets and the Spurs are probably arguably the next 2 best teams. And the same thing on the East side, between the Warriors, the Wizards, and the Celtics. The 2 best teams, other than the number 1 teams that are, already into the next round, are playing each other. If these guys were if the Cavaliers would have to play the Wizards or the Celtics right now, or if the Warriors had to play the Spurs and the Rockets, they're not sweeping those teams. They're not winning, 8 in a row. They're going to have a little bit of a tougher time. So they might get tested in this next couple rounds. But you're going to have to, and not in this next couple rounds, and this next round leading to this to the finals. So it just depends on, how the cards fall. It doesn't benefit the teams in the West though, because they are injured. They lost more people. I think that neither team is going to beat the Warriors, but I think that out of the 2 teams, the Warriors would have a tougher time with the Rockets just because they'll have Harden and they'll have Beverly. But you're talking about no Parker on the Spurs side.
I'm different to you. I think even without Parker, I think they still put up
and now possibly
talent.
Leonard. You don't know about Leonard yet. That's what I'm saying. There's no official word on if he's coming back.
Guillermo, since you're in the chat, let us know how long he's out for.
They don't know yet. There's no he's out today, but they won the overtime. They won in overtime without Leonard last 2 nights ago. It was 2 nights ago, right? The Spurs?
Yes.
Yeah, so they won in overtime without him, But going in a 7-game series against a team that has a lot of talent is not going to benefit them. Now, I'm not saying the Rockets are the better team than the Spurs. I'm just saying in this, it might be better. They don't have Nene, who's been awesome off the bench, but it could benefit them a little more, to give them a run for their money. But as far, like I said, I don't see either of those teams, Cavaliers or the Warriors, being knocked off, and I had high hopes that the Celtics would be able to do it, but I just don't see anyone knocking them off on the East side. I just think the Cavaliers are about to win it all again.
All right, so let's just preview. Do the Wizards win Game 6? I think yes. What do you think? Or is it over in D.C.?
It's tough for me, man.
We can't take this again in D.C.
Last week, I predicted that Game 6, that they would win in 6, the Celtics, but watching these two teams play at home, it's just it's a totally different, it's a different atmosphere every time. Speaking
of being at home, do you agree with the fans when they're doing Kelly Oubre saying F you to him while he was playing?
Listen, man, fans are passionate. Sometimes I don't necessarily agree with the way they go about stuff.
At these professional games.
There's kids everywhere, man. So, I mean, you're cursing on the show right now, and there might be kids watching this. That didn't stop you, right? Just for sake of an argument.
That's true.
Right? So, I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but everyone's entitled to what they believe they have to say. I don't necessarily agree that I would yell at him. He just got passionate in the moment. I mean, when you feel like you're getting, fouled like that and no one's doing nothing.
Anyway.
Huh?
The other Kelly flopped. That push wasn't nothing anyway.
I mean, no, the push was a pretty nice shove, man. He got him off guard, and he wasn't paying attention. He knew what he was doing, I think. I think Olenek knew that he was coming up on him. But, again, you just can't let your emotions get the best of you in games like that, and they just weren't right. He wasn't, there, and that could have hurt his team, to be honest. I mean, they still won, so it worked out. But, again, they were at home. So I think they'll find a way tonight to win. I don't think it benefits either of those teams, especially the Celtics, to go to a 7 games. The faster they can get rest, the better. But I feel like it goes to Game 7 and the Celtics win at home.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our playoff talk for both sides. So let's move. Well, real quick, who wins San Antonio, Houston? Does San Antonio finish out tonight, or do we go to a Game 7? Who wins? I have San Antonio in 7.
So they're in Houston tonight, right?
Yeah.
Houston will win tonight. I think Leonard not playing will hurt them. Just because without him and Parker for a whole game, I think you're going to finally see what this team can do. And I don't think Harden's going to lose at home. But Game 7, if Leonard's back in and he's good to go and he's playing the way he usually plays, I think the Spurs win in 7.
Okay.
I'll go Spurs in 7.
We're going to move on now to our baseball segment, which is called, Anthony, what's the name of it?
Oh, Chris usually would say it, but since he's not here, I will say it. What is baseball?
So this edition of What is Baseball, we're a month done through the season. So we're just, I like that, Paul. That's pretty cool. So we're going to, and Chris couldn't be here tonight. Thank you for the name. So we're going to review the first half of the season. We'll talk some Nats. Anthony will talk some Mets. So let's get first into standings. Let's talk about the standings first. Let's go to the American League, where the Yankees right now and the Baltimore Orioles are tied at the top of the American League East. The Yankees are 21-10. The Orioles are 22-11. Same, but the win and the loss, counteracts each other. So they're the same. Boston, excuse me, everyone's picked to win that division. 18-16. It's early. Like we always say, it's early, but they're a little bit under where everyone's doing. The Blue Jays, who start off 1-8, they're 13-21 now. So the Yankees, who I did pick to make the wild card, is really surprising a lot of teams with that young team. We'll get into their big player a little bit later with the stats. The AL Central, we have the Cleveland Indians, which we all thought are at the top, 18-15. Twins right there, a half a game behind, 16-14. Then you have the Tigers at 16-16. So, pretty tight division so far. Royals have just royalty falled off. They're at 13-21, but only 5.5 back. And then we get to the West, to Houston, who has the biggest lead out of all the division leaders in baseball. They're 6 games ahead of the Mariners. They're at 23-11. And congrats to Seattle Mariners for their relief pitcher, Emilio Pagan. I'm good friends with his cousin. Got called up to the big leagues for the Mariners. So congrats to Emilio Pagan for that. He also played for Team Puerto Rico this past March. And now we get to the end in the West. The Rangers last place, 8.5 back. Really surprising there. Let's get to the NL East. Washington Nationals are in front, 22-12. They have the second best record in baseball. It's that 12th loss that kills them. Right behind them, the Mets, who in a span of a week have gone from last to second. So Anthony, you guys are slowly. You had a really good week. I think you had what did you have, like a 3 or 4 game span where you took 4 out of 5 or something like that?
Yeah, they should have won yesterday, but that's neither here nor there right now.
So you're 5.5 back, 16-17, and then the Braves are everyone thought they would be. They're bringing up the rear, 11-20. Central, the Cardinals have fought back. They were a little bit of bottom feeders to begin the season. Now they're back up at 19-14. The Reds second place. The Cubs are in fourth place at 17-17. They're really not. I guess you say they're not starting off strong as they did last year. Yeah. And then we finally get to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we'll come back to it. We'll talk. I'll let you just say the records for now.
And then we get back to the West, where surprise, surprise, the Colorado Rockies are at top of that division at 22-13 with their high power offense, and the Dodgers are right behind them, a game and a half back. 20-14, and the Giants last place. Injuries are killing that team right now. They're 12-23. They're one of my playoff picks. So, real quick for run differential. LA Dodgers plus 53, Nationals plus 51, Yankees plus 56. The worst run is the Giants minus 68. So that means they're getting outscored by 68. I mean, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot.
Real quick, let's move this, if you don't mind, move the stats real quick, then we'll come back to divisions. American League, Mike Trout in the lead for average, 355. Aaron Judge with the big gun from the Yankees, 13 home runs. Nelson Cruz, 31 RBIs. For the wins, he's pitching tonight. Help me out with his name. Dallas. I can't know how to say his last name.
Dallas. You talking about?
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't say his. You got now. You got me all messed up.
Well, he's got 5. I mean, there's a bunch of people with 5 wins, but they have him at the top. And then earned run average. Jason Vargas 1.01. He has 5 wins. That's pretty impressive to begin the season. Saves, Craig Kimball, and the new big stat everyone does, wins above replacement, 2.5 for Judge. Let's move over to the American National League now. Ryan Zimmerman batting a tremendous 393. Harper's right behind him at 372. Good stuff for the Nats. I'm sorry, Anthony. Home runs tie the top between Zimmerman and Eric Tomas, the guy who just came back from Korea. I think, is he still hurt?
Eric Tomas or Eric Thames? You're talking about the guy on the Brewers?
Yeah, sorry, Thames. Yeah. Zimmerman leading the league in RBIs. Thank you very much, 34. And wins, 2 with 5. Kershaw, obviously, and Antonio Zenzala for the Colorado. I'm sorry, I know I butchered that last name. Hey, who knows? Maybe I did say it right. Earned run average, Mike Leake with 1.79. 2 national players in top 5. Scherzer's 2.59. Gio's 2.64. NL saves, Greg Holland with 14. You probably won't see any nationals in that top 5 for the whole year.
Yeah, they're on the Mets.
and wins above replacement, Harper and Zimmerman at 2.1, also with Freddie Freeman. So let's get quick. Let's go. I'll start with you. Mets. Injuries are killing you guys.
Let's talk of every other division before we get to ours, so we're going to spend the most time there.
Well, no, I was going to go with just team. I was going to go with our teams right now and not do every other division.
Okay.
So let's start with the Mets. As you can say right now, probably just the injury factor. So go ahead and give us your first month.
Here's the thing, man, with the Mets, and you can attest to me saying this. Every year, the Mets, they just find a way. The injuries always find a way to hurt these guys. It's to the point now where it's like it's expected, and I hate saying something like that. Like, I don't know what it is, if there's just some kind of curse over the team or what it is after that year that they made the World Series. Even the World Series year, they had a lot of injuries, but they just can't stay healthy. And the franchise, the general manager need to spend money. I mean, I don't know how else to say this. You can't spend money on one player and then just fill spots after that. You have to get other free agents to come there and help the team. They banked so much on 7 starting pitchers, and to start the season. Right off the rip, before the season even started, 2 of them go on the DL and Matz and Lugo. So we're down to 5. Okay? One of them is coming off Tommy John surgery in Wheeler, and the other one is Gazelman, who played from the minors last year and came up at the end of the year and had a pretty solid, outings on the last few games he played in. So they were like, okay, we're going to go with these 5 and we'll see what happens. The bullpen, they did absolutely nothing to benefit the bullpen. And they lost, Clippard in the last couple years, who was probably one of their best relief pitchers they had. And now he's on the cross-rival team in the Yankees, and he's doing great over there. But they just didn't do what they needed to do to strengthen the bullpen. And on the offensive side, I can't really say much to complain. The injuries, again, are hurting them, but they're scoring runs with the offense they have. Do I think they could use another big bat in the lineup? Absolutely. Absolutely. They need a hitting catcher that, or a first baseman that's solid on the regular basis. TJ Rivera has been a very nice, welcoming addition to the team from the minors since he was there last year as well at the end of the year. This is officially his rookie season, and I can't say enough praise for Michael Conforto. He is really rejuvenating this offense, and I think he is the key right now to the Mets offense and why they are hitting as well as they are right now. I mean, they're batting him in the leadoff position in most of the games, and the guy's hit, I think 2 or 3 leadoff home runs already since putting him in that spot. He's batting over 300. He's got pretty solid numbers for what he's doing so far, and considering that he hasn't really had the experience up in the majors yet, I can't complain about him. Jay Bruce, another guy. I was calling for him to get traded at one point, because they had an abundance of outfielders, and I know how the Mets are with money, and maybe they could have got a relief pitcher. It didn't end up happening. He's been another huge, help to the team right now with what we're missing. So for what they have on the team right now with the injuries, obviously on the pitching side, like I said, Matson, Lugo started on the DL. They're still out. You got Syndergaard now out for 2 to 3 months at least. They're saying probably not till the All-Star break will he throw again. That's probably them being safe, and I think that's the right move. So that hurts them not having your ace pitcher. Harvey just can't get anything going, and now he's getting suspended for stuff that he shouldn't be doing. That's another.
Hey, he's upset. Julian Edelman took his girl.
Okay, well that's neither that has nothing to do with it. Even before that, the guy's not pitching as well as he usually is. So you got that going against him. DeGrom has been pitching pretty well. Has 10 strikeouts a game in 3 or 4 of his games. So he's been doing well for us. Wheeler's looked pretty solid in his last couple outings. Gazelman is kind of looking iffy. And the guy that pitched yesterday, actually, they got off of the waivers from Milwaukee, Malone, he pitched a good game. And then Familia comes in with a 1-run lead and blows it in the 9th inning. So, I mean, you can't really ask for much more from this team than what they're doing for what they have there right now. But on the offensive side, like I said, you have no Asdrubal Cabrera. He's day-to-day with his wrist. They just got back Wilmer Flores, which is huge because that helps at least having another player that can play multiple positions in the infield. They don't have Lucas Duda again. This is the 2nd year in a row. This guy's going to miss a lengthy amount of time. David Wright, probably not going to play all season. Their biggest bat in the lineup
is this career done?
I think it's getting close. I think maybe he could be a DH again in the AL, but I don't think he'll ever play third base again, as sad as that is to say. But if it's spinal stenosis, it's going to be tough for him to get back in there. So, and then, of course, our biggest bat in the lineup, he's got a hamstring injury. There's really no timetable on when he'll return, and that's Yoenis Cespedes. So the Mets just can't stay healthy. If this team's healthy at the right time, maybe August, going into towards the playoff hunt, that'll be good. Like I said, if the Mets can stay right around this area where they're 2 or 3 games over 500 and stay within that 5 to 7 game window of the Nationals for first place, I like the Mets' chances. But it's just not going to be – it's going to be an uphill climb for them with all the injuries, and they just got to find a way to make moves to help their team. I mean, if they think the minors is what's going to help them and they're going to keep bringing people up, then so be it. But I definitely think that around the trade deadline, if they're right in this area still, they got to look at adding someone at the trade deadline. They got to look at adding something to help them and give them that extra push because the Nationals' offense is no joke, and they need to make sure that that bullpen is solidified if they're going to go make a deep playoff run again and make sure that that offensive, on the lineup-wise, that they have a solid team. But right now, like I said, overall view, I'm not upset with what the Mets are doing. They're a game under 500. They should be a game over 500 again, like at least after yesterday. The bullpen's blown a lot of games. But considering the injuries and everything they're going through, they're in 2nd place. I'm content. Not happy, but I'm content with what they're doing.
All right, so let's move on to the other team in the NL East, and we'll talk Nats. Like I said, start up in first place, starting the season strong offensively. I think we can say the biggest impact for this team so far has been the loss of Adam Eaton, a last inning crucial hit the first base wrong, tore ACL, out for the year, and he was batting 297 when he went out and had 2 home runs. I mean, he was doing tremendous thing, on base percentage of 393. So they lose him, but really the biggest thing for this team right now is Ryan Zimmerman, number 11. Like I say, he's got batting 393, 13 home runs, 34 RBIs. But then you have Harper right behind him at 392, Daniel Murphy 331, Jason Worth 299, Matt Wieters, who came up huge last night against his former. This team was down 6-4 last night, fought back, won 7 sits. Matt Wieters, game-winning hit. He's batting great. He looks pretty good. Anthony Rendon, who started the season, was batting 230, 213. He's up to 285. So it's really, like you said, for this team has been the offense for this team and the starting pitchers. We have Matt Scherzer right now. He's 4-2, should be 5-2, and the reason he should be 5-2 is this bullpen once again. Well, not once again. This bullpen this year just sucks. It just sucks, and it sucks, and it sucks. We don't have a bullpen. We don't have a closer. I think Dusty's used 5 guys or something. Let me see how many people have saves this year. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 guys have saves this year. You cannot win a playoff series doing that. And this is what's going to kill this team. They're going to have to do another rental probably before the trade deadline. Mike Rizzo keeps saying, we're fine. The bullpen's trying to work itself out. What do you mean they're trying to work themselves out? I mean, no one can get a damn, can't get an out. I mean, look at the game 2 days ago against the Orioles, where Scherzer pitched that incredible game, gives it up, and then lose it in the bottom of the 9th. I mean, you can't do bottom of the 9th, bottom of the 11th or whatever. Can't do that. So I blame Rizzo for this a little bit. He should have spent the money for Chapman. Should have spent the money for, what's the guy from the Dodgers? Melanson or
Jansen. Yeah.
But they didn't. They thought they could do it in-house, but right now, I mean, we have Kelly and Glover's on the DL, which we thought would be 2 guys that would help us out. But right now, our top 2 probably late inning relief pitchers are on the DL. Blake Trinan had 2 first, good games to begin with, and now his ERA is shot up to where is it right now? 8.10. I mean, speaking of ERAs, the one game that Jeremy draw three, whatever, started, where he just only
got 3, you're right. Yeah.
Where he only got 2 outs. You know what his ERA is for the season?
What's that?
135.
Oh my God.
For one game. Oh my God. So that doesn't help the team ERA out at all, because the team ERA is 4.27. So that he kind of blew that ERA up, didn't he?
Yeah.
But we also got Joe Blanton, who for last year pitched tremendous for the Dodgers. His ERA is 9.7. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pitchers above a 5 ERA. You can't win with that at all.
I agree.
As we said, A.J. Cole just got moved up. The phenomenal A.J. Cole, by the way. And Joe Ross got moved back down. Anthony likes that. So right now, I think for the Nationals, the main thing right now is pitching, because as you said before, the hitting's there. I don't think this hitting, we'll see what happens later in the season. But, I mean, it's, we're a month and 2 weeks into the season. These guys are still hot at the bat, so we'll see what happens. But right now, I'm very confident in the Nats. I feel like if the hitting stays up, they may not lose. They may keep the NL East lead throughout the entire season. You may argue with that. I mean, you're a Mets fan. But this team, I mean, if they can keep us, and I mean, if the Mets start to struggle again and the Nats keep winning, I mean, right now they have a series right now against the Phillies coming up. I think they're in 3rd or 4th place right now, and then after the Phillies, then you got Pittsburgh. So I mean, they really have a nice little soft schedule right now. Yeah, they go Philly, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. So I mean, those are 12 games right there where you could take 9 or 10 of 12 easily. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, like you said,
sorry, those are 9 games. I mean, where you you take 7 or 6 of 9. I mean, is that safe to say almost?
Yeah, I think your goal realistically is, you want to take 2 or 3 every time you play someone.
And they've done that every series except for this past Baltimore. And, against the one series against you guys and the one series against the Phillies, other than that, they haven't lost a series.
Yeah, and that's the thing of it, and that's going to be crucial to the Nationals. And I think that's where you say like the Mets won't. The only way the Mets are going to catch them is they have to play consistent baseball when they don't play them, but they have to take 2 or 3 from the Nationals. Obviously, you guys are up 4-2 so far in the season since you swept the Mets the first time, and then you took 1 of 3 at home. So with the injuries, like I said, on both sides, they're only going to get better. But the thing that is very helpful to the Nationals right now is you guys have you're 10 games over 500. You got a pretty decent lead right now. It's still early. This is where you kind of tinker with the lineups and the bullpen, and you bring guys up and you say, hey, let's see what you guys got. Let's see what you can do for us, And that's where you can kind of find, like, A.J. Cole pitched pretty well. Maybe this guy's 3 more starts. He continues to pitch great. You guys just found another 4 or 5 starter. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 starter that could be a 1 or 2 in a couple years. So this is where you kind of build your team, and that's where the Nationals are benefiting from, because it's not going to be a lack of run support 90% of the time as a reason why the pitcher's losing. It has to do with the pitcher is giving up too many runs. Right now, your offense is scoring, would you say safe to say minimum of 4 runs a game?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
right.
4
I
runs
don't
a
know
game.
the average, but if you give a pitcher like Scherzer, like they did the other day, 4 runs, he's going to win you that game 90% of the time, if not 100%. So if these guys can pitch games where they can go 7 innings and they're getting, they have the lead 4-2 going into the 8th, these are games the Nationals have to win. And like you said, the bullpen is their biggest issue. So finding someone to put in the bullpen and alleviate that is the Nationals. That's their big thing. If the Nationals find a way to alleviate the bullpen and they have a guy that gets them, 7, 8, 9 innings, I don't see very many teams giving them a hard time. It's going to be a tough match to beat that team with the way that offense is hitting right now. Because even yesterday, I saw Michael Turner had a big home run in the 7th inning to make it a 2-run game.
Yes.
So, and I know you weren't a big fan of him. So, that's the thing. If you got your 8 batter, 8, 7, 8, 9 batters, wherever you have the pitcher, you might not have them at 9, might have them at 8. This is where you kind of make those moves. And the Nationals, to me, you have to think this
now,
right now.
How many runs per? Hold on, real quick. You said how many runs per game did you
I
guess?
said minimum 4.
It's 6.15.
Yeah, I knew it was more than that. That's what I'm saying.
That's
that
a lot.
I've seen in recent memory. I haven't seen them score less than 4. I couldn't remember what they've done early on, but in recent memory, I'm like, they're not scoring less than 4 runs. And I'm talking about like early in the game, they're scoring 4, not by the 9th inning. By the 9th, they might score more runs. So that's what I'm saying. The starting pitchers have a nice little leeway.
That stat what helped out was that series against Colorado where they did 15, 11, and 16.
Yeah, it didn't hurt them when they scored 22 against the Mets. So
That's 23.
yeah, exactly. So, no, it's okay. I mean, because it's in the past. So, but it's a scary team to watch out for in the NL, not just in the East, but the NL in its entirety.
This team is a resurgence of Ryan Zimmerman. He's finally he's healthy. Shut up. Harper's healthy this year. I mean, last year he was battling the injury, and Daniel Murphy.
Harper's not your best player.
It's Ryan Zimmerman right now, but I'm saying Harper's healthy. And do you still wish the Mets would have re-signed Murphy the way he's played the past
I've had this conversation with you multiple times.
But you keep saying no, but I keep feeling like you should.
I do. I wish they would have re-signed him, but knowing the Mets organization, it was either him or Cespedes. You make that decision.
You would want Cespedes, of course.
Okay. So that's why me being me, knowing what they would do, because look at them. Who have they signed to a bigger contract than Cespedes in the last 10 years? Nobody. They're going to let these pitchers walk. That's what worries me. That's what worries me about this team.
Lose Syndergaard, DeGrom, and
if they lose Syndergaard.
Did you hear about Harvey though? Recently, they said he's only a 1-year, $10 million guy, and teams could be staying away from him. Harvey may not even get that big of a deal anymore. This guy at one point was probably guaranteed $100 million. Not anymore.
Man, I'm telling you what's going to happen. I'm going to call this now. I'm going to call it here on the show. Matt Harvey, right? He's apologized to all his teammates. They're going to respect him. We're glad to have you back in the clubhouse. Goes out there, starts pitching great. Right? They get to the postseason. They're in a big game. Harvey's in the game. He gets shelled for about 10 runs, and then he walks in free agency for nothing when they could have traded him at the deadline. That's what kind of luck the Mets have. They need to trade him at the deadline. If they are not envisioning re-signing starting pitchers that you keep talking about, trade him. You talk about wanting to trade Ovechkin. That's a cornerstone of your, and hockey was a cornerstone of your franchise. Harvey, if you have 7 starting pitchers and when you go to the playoffs, you usually only run with 3, there is no reason you shouldn't trade him.
Turn on your microphone.
Yeah, I know. You see, I'm going on such a tirade. I knocked my microphone out. See what happens?
Yeah. So, I mean, we're gonna end it on that. That was a good way to end. That's going to be our "What is Baseball" segment. We're gonna bring it probably either every week or every bi-weekly. Once the playoffs are done, it'll be every week. It'll be mostly baseball as we get into football. Just a real quick NFL news. Josh Gordon was denied reinstatement. He can't play into the fall. I mean, I guess they just don't want the guy to play.
I don't know. Just be aware, too, on the NL Central. The Cardinals, Pirates, the Cubs, the Reds, especially the Cubs, they're not playing to their standards right now.
No.
And the AL East is another division to watch.
So, yeah. I mean,
you know what I wanted to? I know you wanted to mention one more thing. A little bit of sad news that took place in the sports world.
Thank you.
I'll let you take it from there. I know you wanted to mention it. No, go ahead, man. Go ahead, please. It was your idea, so I don't want to take it from you.
I forgot her name. Go ahead.
I don't remember the name. They put me on the spot here. Jeez. But very tragic news with Chris Berman's wife.
Catherine.
Yeah,
Catherine.
Chris Berman. It was Kathy. I was about to say Kathy Berman. She passed away after being involved in a car accident a couple days ago. And for everyone that, watch SportsCenter or NFL Live, you know how passionate Chris Berman is when it comes to sports. And it definitely, I'm sure, took a toll on him to lose his wife in such a tragic way. And you never want to see anything happen like that. So, condolences and thoughts and prayers out to Chris Berman and his family. And, I don't know what else to say besides that. It's a very, very sad thing to hear
really
something
sad.
like that. But on a more positive note,
actually, I have one more thing to bite the dust about that I found out this week. Real quick, just quick UFC news. Just found out, this past couple of weeks that John Jones is going to be fighting for the light heavyweight title, UFC 214. What the hell has this guy done to deserve another title shot? Like, this guy's been suspended twice in the past 2 years now. Why is he getting a title fight again? I don't understand.
Because he's box office, man. I told you this. Sometimes I gotta tell you how this works.
This UFC, dude, I'm checked out of UFC now because they are putting together fights that people don't deserve. This guy doesn't deserve a title fight.
You like LeBron James?
I think he's a douche, but I mean he's a good player.
Because he's big time box office. That's the difference. If you make money, you get more opportunity. LeBron James is a star player.
Okay.
And people go to see him.
I'm not saying he's not big.
John Jones. I don't like John Jones. I'm agreeing with you.
Does he deserve this to you?
That's why he gets. Listen, man, whether he deserves it or not doesn't change the fact that he's getting the title shot. We could argue about it.
It's like GSP. Everyone loves him. He's big marks. Someone that just came out of retirement does not deserve to have a title fight. It's just my personal opinion. I think UFC is going to start. I think they're going to soon fade out like boxing. And it could be because fans are getting sick and tired of these guys coming back and getting title fights right out of the back when there's other guys that are busting their ass off. By the way, Dana White said Sunday's the last day for McGregor.
For the last day for McGregor. Mm-hmm.
That happens.
We'll see.
All right, so I think that's
one more thing. Since you're talking about big fights taking place, what about? I know we don't really talk boxing as much, but Canelo versus Triple G. Yeah, that's officially going to take place. So that's another fight to look forward to. So, yeah, some good stuff going on.
So that's going to do it for us tonight. Anthony, I know you got a couple people in the chat. You may want to say thank you to.
Yes, I do. I definitely want to say thank you real quick to. I had a couple people write in the beginning. I know I had my friend Dave in the beginning write something in there. Of course, Guillermo, once again, always writing to us. Chris, sorry you couldn't be here tonight, but thanks for your involvement in the chat as well today.
Caesar.
And then I saw Caesar, yep, John at the end, and Nolan. It was thanks for watching for your first time tonight. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you'll catch us again next week. We get a little more in depth into everything sports. Today was more the DC base of the show since their teams are in the crucial playoff hunts, or at least
Capitalosers
playoff hunts. But yeah, I had fun again tonight, and I hope it'll be even better next week. Stay tuned with that, Matt. Is that okay if I'm not going to say the name yet, but we may have a special guest next Thursday.
Yes. Stay tuned. We're not going to mention names.
Stay tuned. We will let you know if everything goes down, and I think that person knows who he is. So we'll be in touch.
All right, Paul, go ahead and say your stuff.
Yeah, of course. Thanks again for watching and listening and all that good stuff. Right up here. Go ahead and give us a like on Facebook. Follow us. It's Facebook.com/Shipe Sports Talk. On Twitter, follow us on Twitter. It's at Shipe Sports Talk. And the YouTube. Give us a subscribe on the YouTube. That way you get notified whenever we put new video out, new content. You won't miss a thing if you hit that subscribe button and give us a like on our on today's show. If you loved it, that'd be fantastic. Yes. Thanks to everybody in the chat room again.
Thanks again for joining us. You can catch me and Anthony again on OT3 this Monday, 7 o'clock, 7:15 around that time. We'll be talking more Raw, SmackDown, getting a little bit more, getting ready for NXT TakeOver Chicago. You can finally catch
And
Paul
Backlash.
again. And Backlash. You can finally catch Paul again on Crazy Talk. Paul, where can they find you at for Crazy Talk?
Crazytalk.com. It's crazy with a K. We had our first episode of our season 2 reboot last night, so I'm chopping it up and I should be posting it tonight. But you can catch all the old episodes on there as well. That's it. Thanks.
Are you going to be putting that on YouTube or Facebook or no?
Probably Facebook, not on YouTube. It's not a video; it's just audio.
But you'll have it on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook and on the
You need to do this
website
video,
or
man.
on
I love
Stitcher.
looking at Henry's crazy self.
I know. Maybe next time.
Love the old guy. So thank you again for joining us. We'll be back next Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock. Chris hopefully will be back with us. So for myself, Anthony, Paul, and everyone in the chat, thank you for joining us and have a good evening. Thank you, everyone.
So
Have a good night, everybody.
Go Predators.
Oh, come on, man. They just got eliminated already. You're going to go against Capitals?